It's Friday's last night, and I hope everything worked out all right then. And Daryl really, well, he's the boss, so I mean, I was handicapped anyway because he's the boss, and if I had got on him too much, I probably wouldn't have been on the show this morning. But I'm trying to get him to make up for it by telling me what time do we all meet for the concert tonight.
And the concert you're talking about is the Keith Sweat birthday weekend party with Tevin Campbell, Monica, and
Yeah.
they're live here in Tampa at the Amalie Arena. And for those of our listeners all over the country, listen, even though COVID numbers are up, America is waking up, and there are events happening all over the place. So get out, support these activities, particularly when you see these African American shows come to town. Listen, whether they get to come back or not depends on you buying tickets. So let's get out and support them. And I was just thinking,
the new edition is out.
Yeah, I was just
thinking. And the new edition is out.
Yes, the new edition of In Touch. In fact, there's a wonderful article in there. In the In Touch News, Pete, I got a kick out of it. I left it on the counter at my house. It is a great article by Tammy. She does it. Tampa Bay Tammy does an incredible job, I think, advising women.
Beautiful article.
I mean, it's interesting. Sometimes I just wish, that women really listen to men more instead of other women. But when I hear the advice that Tammy gives out to our sisters and ladies and whoever it may be in relation, fellas also, she helps brothers out a lot. It's good for everybody. So so the new edition of In Touch News. Now, if you're not local in Tampa, you can get that online at intouchnews.com. Just go to the intouchnews.com website, and you will see the full suite of media information that In Touch News provides. So you made it through last week, Pete. I'm glad to hear that. I was listening online to you and Daryl, and man, I wanted to jump in, but I didn't want to make it obvious to the folks at my conference that I wasn't paying attention, that I was listening to y'all instead. So, but hey, listen, I'm back, and I'm just full of stuff. I just got so much stuff on my mind, Pete, that kind of go over. The one thing I would like to
let's get into it. Let's go.
So the first thing is, let's talk about it. So COVID numbers are up. And I think people had a misunderstanding of how the COVID vaccine works. The COVID vaccine is designed to reduce the risk of serious illness. It does not prevent COVID. It reduces the risk of severe illness. So you had a bunch of pundits come out and say, "Oh my God, Joe Biden has got COVID. The vaccine doesn't work." Well, so he's vaccinated and double boosted. So he should not have severe problems from it. What do you see, Pete, as the political fallout of Biden contracting COVID?
I think hope for his good health, but I think he sends a message. I went and got my fourth booster from Health Matters last week because certain age groups, the hospital numbers are going up. The variance of it is going up. You're seeing the monkey virus is coming more. You saw a rare case of polio. You're seeing, especially among young people, and especially in Hillsborough County, the rising number of STDs going up. So people are getting lazy. They don't, they think that they can click on a health remedy just like they click on a computer, and it doesn't work like that. And it's just one thing after another. But I think, particularly for those of us who are minorities and the health disparities and all like that, we gotta take care about what we need to do, and I think it sends a message to everybody.
Yeah.
Particularly, I saw Clint where even Ebola is making a comeback. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, but the dynamic that I was trying to catch on to, and I was trying to see, well, how does this play itself out? Because we've got about a third of this country, and I hate to say it, Pete, but it's a majority of Republicans who are in this camp of vaccine deniers. COVID is not that big of a deal. And I'm just trying to say how many legs, as I was watching some of the conservative pundits talk, how does this play into the national politics? One, is it a reflection of Joe Biden's weak leader? He's ill and he's sick, which they try to play that up. And two, have we put too much attention on COVID, let it wreck our economy, and now we're in this tough inflation cycle situation all because of the way that Democrats responded to COVID. What are your thoughts about that?
I think what's going to happen, here's what I think is going to happen. I think for those of us who are fortunate enough to stay up on everything, the issue with Biden will make us more positive. Hey, we got to get the job done. We got to protect our people. There's no question we have to do what we need to do. And so I think that's going to be of help to us. And then I think the other thing what we need to do is for those who continue to insist there's nothing going on, okay, you know what? We just pray for you. That's all I can tell you. We just don't pray for you.
But one of the things
I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is, Clint.
Well, I don't know. I'm not willing to give in just yet because I know that the human psyche acts on emotion. The human psyche acts like when I used to teach my freshman math class at USF back in 84 and 85 when I was teaching the young brothers on campus how do we maintain our stature as the go-to frat on campus. It was this message, Pete. It was like the ladies need to feel good when you come around. Now you work on how you make them feel good. Do you help them with their classwork? Do you socialize and talk to them at the party? You make sure they get a dance in. Some of them that Pete, back in the day when you couldn't get a dance, we make sure the brothers make sure the ladies got the dance. Right. So now, in general, when they would hear our name or about us, they'd feel good, and now they would support our activities and initiatives that we're engaged in on the campus. That's no different than what we have in our political world. The politicians try to make people act based off emotion. Democrats, promote it, and then I'll say it. They put out a doom and gloom message along with the COVID message. Emotions getting people, motivated to go get their vaccines. On the other side, there was another emotion of resistance to being told what to do by your government, so you don't have to wear a mask and don't get bossed around. And we're not going to go with the mask mandate, which is right along the lines of politics. And I'm just trying to make sure I appreciate how both sides will play Biden contracting COVID. Now, one of the things that they're challenging is this, Pete, is the White House seemed to not follow its own protocols. And what do I mean by that? They're still on the books, all these tracing guidelines and contact tracing and all that stuff. And one of the first things they said they were going to do is they weren't going to do contact tracing. Now, I don't think anybody does it, but they made it out to feel like that was the end all, the be all to get control of COVID. And we found out later, COVID just moves too fast. It just moves too fast. And so I think they're losing some credibility with this on the side of what do we do to slow down the spread? And that's my concern is now.
Well, yeah, I think I agree with you, Clint. I agree with you. That's why it's important, particularly in our communities. We have to teach things like that for safety and health-wise and all from home. Let's not be fooled with these emotions on both sides.
Right.
It's like a photo op. So I always have taken the position that, hey, you know what? Like my great-grandmother taught me, better be safe than sorry. And we may not have all of the pharmaceutical remedies, but the homemade remedies was just as good to get us through chicken pox and everything else. You feel me? On some issues. So in our community, it's with everything, whether it's the COVID, whether it's the January 6th years. We have to start going back to educating ourselves from home, from the beginning, reading, writing, arithmetic. And we have the new generation, those who, particular parents under 40, that I see, they're not, and I'm talking about folks that may even have a degree or a junior college or community college degree. They use all kind of excuses and say, well, I don't have time. No, you make time for what you really want to hang and do. So you make time to get our kids ready. That's my position.
Yeah. Listen, I just got a message sent to me by Henry Bell. Some of you may know him from Holland Pine. He's Mrs. Betty Bell's son, active in our community.
Right.
And just a one. He just sent me a message. He said that that the in rising COVID numbers and the miseducation of Americans as it relates to the prevalence of it has become so normalized that people are apathetic about that. COVID numbers are going up, and people aren't responding to it. And this is just going to go ahead and put the coffin in Joe Biden's reelection. What are your thoughts? Do you think the rising COVID numbers are going to affect Joe?
No. The COVID numbers, the inflation numbers, that's not going to put a coffin in Biden's election. What these last two election cycles have proven with Trump and Biden, people are in things for the moment. As I told you, that even though this is an off-year election, which black people don't normally vote anyway, one of the things that I found out, and people thought I was being mean-spirited, but people say, if I'm not getting a check, I'm not voting. It's crazy. I'm just saying, I know y'all don't like it, but it's true.
What bus stop you sitting at when they said, Pete, come on, our people are some of the hardest working. We're some of the hardest working people in this country. We're not sitting around waiting on a check to motivate us.
The young people, when you ask them whether you ride to number 35, the number 34, or the 6 that runs through.
Go ahead, RP.
And down, okay? So I'm telling you, among people 35 and under, they're not interested in voting. Not even locally, even after the St. Pete Times endorsed a black woman for a county judge this week. They don't want to hear that. It's all about the stacks, Clint. It's all about the stacks, my brother.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm more optimistic about young folks, and maybe I don't talk to...
Well, you got to get out more and ride the bus with me.
Yeah.
Get out and ride the bus. Take off your lawyer shirt and just sit there with a flop hat or something and some Brogane shoes.
And just ride the bus.
And then you will see, just ride the bus.
I'm going to plan a Saturday when I just get on the bus and just ride. Because back in the day, that's the only way we got around.
Do that. Yeah. Number 7 and number 3.
Man, that number 7 will put it to you now.
Hell yeah.
Well, listen, Pete. So we've been told by Bezel in studio we need to take a break. So we're going to do that real quick, and we just want to wish Biden well. And listen, I want to encourage everybody, please stay vigilant as it relates to COVID. When we come back, Pete, let's talk about these January 6th hearings. It finally got a little interesting the other night. This is In Touch News.
Make a difference.
In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Where everybody can be a star. We'll be right back with Pete Stradamus in a few moments.
Get ready to experience a night of R&B hits after hits. It's the R&B Music Experience Keith Sweat Birthday Weekend Celebration, Saturday, July 23rd at the Amalie Arena, Tampa, Florida, with Keith Sweat. Keith Sweat. It's going to be an epic music experience with Monica, Tevin Campbell, Tamar Braxton, Genuine, 112, and Silk. It's the R&B Music Experience Keith Sweat Birthday Weekend Celebration, Saturday, July 23rd at Amalie Arena, Tampa, Florida, with Keith Sweat, Monica, Tevin Campbell, Tamar Braxton, Genuine, 112, and Silk. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com, another global events production.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio. Reality radio, everybody can be a star. Now, what do I mean by everybody can be a star at In Touch News? I challenge everyone to really take a moment to go to the In Touch News website, the Facebook page, and really take a look at all the various avenues of the ways that In Touch News touches our local community and to our people outside the area. I'm certain that you have local papers that touch your community similarly. So please patronize and support them. For example, last night here in Tampa, In Touch News put on a great First Friday event, just gathering people up, not based on economics or anything else, but the need for our human interaction with each other. And it was just a great event, and I just congratulate them on all the stuff they're doing. So Pete, listen, I mentioned Henry Bell, who you know, and Ma Bell, who've been active, Betty Bell, active in our community for a very long time. He is one of our loyal listeners, and I'll tell you, when I'm on the air, man, he peppers me with text messages. Doesn't call in, but you know what I'm gonna do, Pete? I'm gonna drag him into the studio one day, and tie him to one of these seats, and really put him under the gun. Because he has a lot of great opinions and thoughts about issues affecting us. And so, Henry, you out there, look out for me one day. I'm going to come kidnap you and bring you in studio.
Well, try to get him in next week. I'm
going to work on that. Let's see if I can get him in.
In Touch News, Clint, all of us with In Touch News, there's all of us. We're out and about, and we're beginning to have a series of back-to-school events.
Yes.
So next Saturday, I'm honored again to be a volunteer with the Young Lions organization that will be having a big back-to-school pull-up and get your backpacks over at Middleton again. That's Dexter Bryan and all those folks over there. So I will be with them next week.
Okay.
With book bags and
right.
Tanya Lewis event coming up. So many.
Yes.
But we asked the people. For me personally, please don't come and get the book bags and resell them. If you got children, give it to the kids. We've had over the years several different book bag organizations. People get the stuff and they want to resell them. That's not right.
Yeah.
Brothers, you don't need to do that. So
right.
maybe Henry, he's more conservative than what people think he is. So
listen, if I get him in the seat, I'll bring. So we will consider that an official invite to Henry Bell,
right.
And I'll work those details out with him about getting him in studio, and then we'll just see how he holds up with under the bright lights. So I had mentioned that we were going to our break about the January 6th hearings, and let me say, here's what I think those hearings are about. They're about a couple of things. I think the first thing they're about is documenting what happened, and giving a body of information upon which we can decide what things need to be strengthened to eliminate that kind of risk before. I'll give you a good example. I remember before they blocked off the roads in front of the White House. You made 2 people. You go to D.C., you could almost walk up to the front door, take a picture, stand around on the grass. Everything's open. And then there was a wrought iron gate put up. They backed you out to the street. Now the entire street's blocked off, and sometimes you can't even walk out in that area near the White House. But that came out of threats against the White House and the need to increase the security, to the White House. The same thing I think comes out of this January. I think out of this hearing we will get information, Pete, that we can use to greater protect our election process, and even the bigger issue is the actual transition of power process, so that it doesn't rely on the goodwill of so many people in the future. That's one of the things I think they were doing, documenting it so they can analyze what needs to be done to firm up that process in Washington. The second thing,
all that, it'll be too late.
No. Well, let me say this, Pete. I recently reviewed hearings following World War I as it relates to how the military dealt with leading into the armistice. Now, if they had not done the post-event hearings related to that situation, I couldn't go back and read up on that stuff and see how it might be relevant to decisions made today. So it may not be right now, today, and tomorrow, and affect the outcome of an election, but 15, 25 years from now, they'll have something to go back and look at to see what were the facts, who were the players, how people handle it. And posterity is a heck of a sanitizer. It's really tough to not be scrutinized by the time of history and reflection. That's one component. And now the one that I think that jumps out at you the most, though, Pete, is how does this affect or impact elections on either side? Let me tell you this. So you don't hang out with Democrats, Pete. You down there with the Republican crew.
No.
But let me tell you, let me tell you what's
hanging out with everybody.
Let me tell you what's going on with Democrats. These hearings have been an incredible energizer. And here's what they reaffirmed. We knew the situation was dire. We knew that things were at a tipping point. I don't think we knew how close we came fully. That's from the Democrat side. And so guess what? Democrats are being energized by the hearings, not the Republicans. Let's talk about the Democrats. First, it looks like they're taking some action. And interestingly, Pete, the hearings are using majority Republicans to do it. They're using Republican staffers, Republican people that were appointed by him, by Trump. They're using Republicans to send the message. So from the Democrat side, it doesn't look or feel nearly as partisan as Republicans want to make it out to be. That's the Democrat side. I think on the Republican side, the entrenched Trumpers are digging in. They're digging in, and they're treating it like it's a witch hunt. And not a lot of them are having their minds change. But I tell you the group that is, Pete, it's independents. That hearing, for the most part, from an influence standpoint, I think is directed at independents. What are your thoughts?
It is, but it's the wrong year. I'm telling you, nobody wants to. You read like I do, research all kind of stuff. Nobody wants to get into understanding that we're in the throes of the beginning of a race war. I keep telling you that.
I don't know if a race. We may be in the throes of a war. I don't know if it's a race war.
Yeah, look at it.
It's too mixed up. It's too mixed up. What are you gonna do with the white? What are you gonna do with the white people in your family, Pete? You gonna put them out? You can't put them out.
Well, the bottom line is when you look at everything and they give this gas thing and the whole bit. Remember, Obama came in with a gas situation and it worked out for him. The bottom line right now, it's an off-year election. Our young people aren't interested in voting. They don't give a hoop about voting anymore. They don't even vote in local elections to make a difference in our community. So it's all fake, and therefore it sets it up for extremists, right-wing extremists in the Republican Party, and some of them are hiding out in the independents. And don't forget, you got a lot of right-wing extremists in the Democratic Party, too. They're not all liberal. And so it's a perfect storm for a takeover, congressional takeover. You send it in the judicial election. And by the time our folks wake up, we're behind everybody. And if you notice, the trend is Hispanics are deserting the black cause in droves. So what does that tell you?
Well, I don't think they've. Well, first of all, Hispanics have never been committed to the black cause. They've been committed to the Hispanic cause, and I don't blame them for that. But so let's not confuse why they were on the bus. They weren't on the bus because they were really fighting for what we were fighting for. They had other agenda items, which is fine. We've always been a coalition on the Democratic side, and we welcome everybody in this struggle. We welcome everybody in this struggle to make our community a stronger and more vibrant place. But I'm more optimistic about the total electorate. You know, I just listen to those hearings, And the beauty of it is that's a different process. See, we're all used to the usual political process. We're not used to evening primetime hearings like that, Pete. That's what was a little different, and so it kind of
That's true.
It caught everybody kind of off beat, but so those are the kind of things they're using to get the message, and they set this thing up perfect to let that last message marinate until they get closer to the general elections.
But
just
it won't hit home to 2026. After Trump is in office for 2 years, and he's gonna get elected again. I might as well tell you up front, I don't like it, but he's going to get elected again because his people, those extreme right wingers and all of them, whether they got on a tuxedo or
it's not enough.
They stay on top of stuff.
Listen,
we don't.
It's not enough of them, Pete. It's not enough of the extremists. Trump can't win. Watch me now. No, Trump can't win without independents, and I'm going to throw it on the table, and anybody want to meet me in the parking lot, let's do it right now. He can't win without independents and black men. See, black men are the ones who put Trump over the top. Let's go ahead. Let's just say it like it is, P. You want to throw it on young folks.
No, you're going to put him over the top again.
Black men are not going to go with Trump this time. They fell for the whole, grab him into whatever, and, he's manly this and that, and he rich guy flying on a Trump plane. Now we know he's an imbecile.
Okay.
Now we know he's an imbecile.
Let me give you a good hypothetical that's really true.
Okay.
Trump is going to win with more black support. He's also going to win with white women who may want abortion, but they're going to follow their husband's demand and vote for Trump.
Hold on for a minute right there, Pete. If you were in court, the judge would say, you're giving a conclusion. Please state the facts upon which that conclusion is based. What are the facts that support that? I mean, this is the 1930s where men come home and tell their wives who to go vote for. Man, you can lose.
It's being handed down again.
Man, you better watch it.
Handed down again.
By who? I mean, what men?
Well, let's look at it from a legal standpoint.
Okay.
Amy Barrett Comey, or whatever her name is.
Yes.
All right, she's on the Supreme Court, but guess what? She follows her husband's lead. That's why she's conservative. That's why they put her on the board, on the court. No. See, we got to stop playing games.
No, Pete. No, man. Look. Okay, Pete.
Okay.
So listen.
All right, it's coming.
Look, man. At my house, let me tell you what I got at my house, Pete. I got one of those educated black women. Multiple degrees. I think like 3 or 4 of them, whatever she's got, man. On standing. I bet not walk in that house telling her who to suggesting she vote for somebody, because I think she's gonna make decisions on her own, and I may not even know who she really voted for. It's your private business. The day of men
but the
day of men telling their wives who to go vote for, Pete. I hope you're not picking out hairdos too. I mean, that's. I don't know if that's good for a player. I don't know if that's good for a player in 2022.
White men still tell their women, and you see it in the decision making process.
I don't know about that.
What do you think is going on with the moms for education and stuff? We ought to stop misleading our listeners and thinking that everything is going.
Man, look, I'm gonna get out. I'm finna get. Pete, I gotta get out of this conversation because I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna say the wrong thing, and either some man's gonna want to beat me up, or some woman's gonna want to beat me up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna listen to my producer here. We're gonna take this quick break, middle of the show, and transition over to the backside. Talk about this economy a little bit, Pete. Check on those gas prices.
Do that.
Let's do it. In Touch News Radio.
Speaking of economy, where's our tickets at?
Go ahead. Well, let me talk to Tam. I just saw walk in. We'll be right back after this break.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Get ready to experience a night of R&B hits after hits. It's the R&B Music Experience Keith Sweat Birthday Weekend Celebration, Saturday, July 23rd at the Emily Arena, Tampa, Florida, with Keith Sweat. Sweat. It's going to be an epic music experience with Monica, Tevin Campbell, Tamar Braxton, Genuine, 112, and Silk. It's the R&B music experience Keith Sweat birthday weekend celebration. Saturday, July 23rd at Emily Arena, Tampa, Florida. With Keith Sweat, Monica, Tevin Campbell, Tamar Braxton, Genuine, 112, and Silk. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Another global events production.
God bless each and every one of you, and have a happy 4th of July. This is Pastor Harold Ford. Join us this weekend for the House of Gospel Music. Cherry Johnson tells us about the priests who slapped the babies behind. Evangelist Dorothy Norwood stops by to tell us a real story. And all of your gospel favorites back to back on the House of Gospel Music. Gospel Hallelujah, heard right here on this great radio station.
All right, we're back live on Intense News Radio, reality radio, where everybody can be a star. Listen, so
And Tampa Bay Tammy agrees with me.
I bet you don't. You better not. Tammy will push you down right now. She saw you. She's so hot. You done trash women, and you done put Trump back in the White House. I got to fight to keep your position at the station now, man. You done said. Listen, see, here's what a lot of people don't recall. I'm gonna say this about the Trump election, and just we'll leave it where it is, and we'll come back later, y'all. And if you feel like there's more messaging, but I'm getting some pretty harsh text messages coming at me saying stop blaming black men voters. Let me say this. Here's what happened in the Trump election of 2016. Black male voters did not show up in certain districts. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple other key places. They didn't show up. Why? They were disenchanted because of what Obama did. They didn't get enough out of Obama.
Absolutely. And they were right.
That's one component. Here's the second stat that everybody should take a look at. Donald Trump got more male black voters than John McCain and Mitt Romney. More black voters than both of those two people. He had more black voters than either one of those two prior candidates. Now, if you take those voters, swing them back over to the Democrats, right? And you have folks show up in key districts, black voters who are felt disenfranchised, the election changes. See, the most reliable group of voters in the Democratic Party are black women. They don't budge. I want to say it's like 88% of black women vote Democrat, and they don't budge.
And they anti-black male now.
Now stop that. I'm not the views expressed by the co-host on this station.
I got good examples.
I won't say they're anti-men because the ladies love Clint. So I'm not going.
They won't vote for us.
Hey,
they won't vote for
man,
us, Clint.
hey,
they won't do it.
Bezel is hinting that you got to strengthen your hand. Your pimp game is. You got to strengthen your hand a little bit.
Look at the trends. Look at the trends, Clint. In most major cities, and particularly in the South, and particularly even in Florida, the trend among black women is that black men, we've had our day, and no matter how qualified we are, they have an anti-black male elected official.
I disagree,
Your
Pete.
frat brother couldn't get really okay.
Well, hold on. Listen. My frat brothers have been elected in Hillsborough County multiple times and at the city of Tampa. Let's not confuse the history of Cap Alpha Psi getting elected.
He couldn't win going forward.
Well, there was some shenanigans going on in that election, and it was a very few number of votes. In fact, I want to give a shout out to my brother Ed Narain, who on Tuesday, I think it was Thursday, he held an event with the Cap Alpha Psi regarding voting elections educating voters on the upcoming election, going over the dates and things of that nature, what to do if you get to the polling place and your ballot's kicked back, they won't let you vote, or if you want to vote by mail. He just went through a litany of things over in our presentation. The community showed up, so want to congratulate Brother Ed Narain on that. And listen, Pete, the record is clear on Kappa Alpha Psi members being elected in Hillsborough. I'm gonna leave that where it is now. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. So listen, the economy, where is it going? What's it doing? Because the majority of the numbers in our economy, Pete, they look good. House prices, they've took a little bit of a nudge back down, just a nudge, but they stopped jumping up by thousands every month. They've come down just a little bit. Likewise, gas prices. In my neighborhood, I saw $3.99. I was ecstatic. Pulled right in and topped it off.
I've seen them less than that. Yeah,
I pulled right in. I pulled right in there and topped it off because I was afraid the next day it might be back up again. Unemployment numbers. Unemployment remains low. I think it's 3.6%. I think Joe Biden economy is starting to it's like a train. It's at least rolling a little bit. What are your thoughts on where the economy is going, and is inflation going to be enough to hold everything back?
Well, remember, when you learn it in economics and stuff, particularly in the freshman level when you go to college, they talk about how balancing things out. And what you see now, nobody likes an overheated economy. You look at the jobless rate in Florida, it's low, but not necessarily as far as black males go. So I think the inflation won't hold up. I think they're putting in tools to adjust everything to keep a balance where they can have, let's say, unemployment around 4.5% or 5%. Some prices will come down, some will go up. What's going to be the key? And what happens in minority neighborhoods, we don't teach it enough to young people coming up to look at the reporting factors of profits being made and that kind of stuff. Our folks and other neighbors, too, don't pay attention to that, how much money they really make. I give you a good example. With the light companies in Florida, they are guaranteed a certain percentage, regardless of whether the service is sorry or not. Why? They're guaranteed it because they got to pay off their investors. So you can have a diverse group on the Florida, whatever the people that the Utilities Commission, they all do the same thing. They're going to vote to protect Florida Power and TECO investors and the hell with the citizens. So people have to be taught that. Now, you and I, Darrell, Tampa Bay, Tammy, Bezel, a lot of us, we're drivers of teaching ourselves. I believe in the 51-49%. What is that? 51% of your learning minimum should be you leading the way to teach yourself. So the economy and all is going to be what it is. And remember, we still got people who jobs are available, but they don't want to work. We got the hospitality industry saying we can't find people even though we're paying more money. You know why they can't find people? Because they have a built-in negative thing where they don't want to hire black people in the hospitality industry unless it's in the damn kitchen. So you got to see, that's the kind of stuff that you got to look at, and we need to teach that more and more with our younger people so they can see the real picture and see what looks like an illusion might be an illusion. You follow me?
I do, but Pete, I'm going to talk about it because you always bring up these young people and what kind of needs to be done with young folks. The question is who?
Yeah, because they need to be alive.
But who and where where is that taught? Let's assume a lot of parents don't really know what we're talking about. A lot of parents. There are restrictions now on what can be taught in school. Where would these messages be delivered, and how would they be delivered?
The messages are delivered the same way they look at everything else. You put a beat to it or whatever, you put it on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. We need to start utilizing more our entertainers in a positive way to send the message down. That's one thing, even though I don't agree with them with everything, but that's one thing I like about somebody like LeBron James versus somebody like Michael Jordan. The difference is LeBron James gets it as to what we need to do so the continuing leadership and drive for Black Wall Street, Black middle class, Black business districts can come up behind him. Michael Jordan won't do that. It's about Mike, and that's it. So that's how I would try to teach it to young people. And we need to utilize the social platform, pay some of them that can put a good damn beat to the education thing we need to teach them, and go from there. And where do you start? You start probably in the 5th and 6th grade, because a lot of those kids now have their own Facebook page, they have their own Snapchat, they use codes and all, but they're on there. So we need to see what happens to us as we get over 50. All of a sudden, we think that young people can't teach us a doggone thing.
Well,
we don't want to be.
I don't know about
I'm
the
just
teach piece,
saying.
but let me line up three individuals. Let's talk about LeBron James, Tiger Woods, and Michael Jordan, and the difference. The difference in the
difference is for me. The difference is for me. I would never teach my grandkids to follow the examples of Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. They both have checked out of the Black reality.
Do you think do you think Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods' middle class kind of upbringing, as opposed to LeBron James' single mom upbringing, influenced that more so?
No, it shouldn't influence as much.
But did it? That it shouldn't. But because I'm gonna tell you what. Here's why. LeBron James probably saw very close up firsthand the effects of the economic disadvantages of a society, and how they're really, unless you do something drastic, and those within the power structure decide to change things, it isn't going to change. Whereas you take Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods, well, they kind of had a little bit smoother road, more stable household kind of.
Yeah, but they saw it as they passed.
They didn't live it down.
Listen,
though, that is a whole listen. Because I drive by some homeless people, I don't know what it's like to sleep being eaten by mosquitoes every night on a curb. That's a whole different animal. But what I'm saying is this, though. Once you acknowledge your social obligations, then you feel the burden to do something about it. And Tiger Woods, he took on, I'm gonna do something about golf. I'm going to create the first tee and help inner city white kids learn to play golf. That's what he did. Because the suburban kids at the country club, they don't need first tee. The design he set up, first tee, it was alluded to be for the inner city black kids. But when you find that very quickly, black kids can't even afford to practice golf. And so first tee has not produced any black golfers in the history that has been in existence. You have 2 black golfers on the Pro Tour. Harold Varner III and Tiger Woods. And if you wasn't looking at Harold's face, you might not know he's a brother. But we'll leave that where it is. I say this, though. Once you acknowledge what the problems in our society, you feel the obligation to do something, Pete. And like both you and I know in this community, a lot of people aren't willing to take on the obligation to try to change things for other people. If it doesn't put dollars in their pocket, it's somebody else's problem. That's why Michael Jordan made that iconic statement, Republicans buy Nikes too. And he was unwilling to take on the slave labor and exploitation of human rights to make those $300-400 price Nike shoes. But getting back to the onus of this initial segment, Pete, I think the economy is going to be a positive place. Even the stock market is moving up. Even the stock market is moving up. I think the economy is going to be a good point for Joe Biden and Democrats to point to when we get around to the election in the fall. Did I lose, Pete?
Yeah, well,
Go ahead, Pete. Did I lose Pete? Well, call back in, Pete, as soon as you get a moment. And actually, we need to be getting to our last break of the day. So Pete, go ahead and give us a call back. You've got the call-in number, 813-444-9588. Do it before one of these people that's pissed at you about this stuff you said about.
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Okay, Pete.
Yeah, I'm on. I'm just saying to you, let somebody call in and agree with me.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this then. We're going to take this last break and then go to our last segment of the day. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody could be a star. Even if you're not going to the Keith Sweat concert tonight, sitting in up top in a big suite somewhere, or hadn't got your barbecue delivered that Pete keeps asking Dale to ship in.
Okay,
just keep listening.
I sent the message. Y'all don't have no ticket from me.
Hey, man, we love you, Pete. All right, we'll be right back after this break.
Listening to Tampa Bay Tammy,
your girlfriend,
on In Touch Radio.
In Touch Radio.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Tampa, get ready to experience a night of R&B hits after hits. It's the R&B Music Experience Keith Sweat Birthday Weekend Celebration, Saturday, July 23rd at the Emily Arena, Tampa, Florida, with Keith Sweat.
Take your place.
Keith Sweat. It's going to be an epic music experience with Monica, Tevin Campbell, Tamar Braxton, Genuine, 112, and Silk. Keith Sweat Birthday Weekend Celebration, Saturday, July 23rd at Emily Arena, Tampa, Florida, with Keith Sweat, Monica, Tevin Campbell, Tamar Braxton, Genuine, 112, and Silk. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com, another global events production.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody can be a star. My man Bezel behind the board is working magic, trying to handle these calls.
Record your message and press pound.
Pete and Daryl trying to get through.
I
don't know where you are in America right now, around the world, but it has been hot. I don't care where you are. It has been hot. Thankfully in Florida, our heat is mitigated by our closeness to water. So in Florida, it's only going to get so hot, and then the water is going to drag the temperature back down. But we've been seeing 100-plus temperatures all over the Southwest, Texas, all over the place. And I'm just wondering about my Republican counterparts over there who've been climate and global warming deniers, how this will impact the politics of the upcoming election. I mean, I don't know how people still can deny we have global warming. Is that a position, Pete, that the Republicans are going to maintain? All right, so we lost Pete. But so Republicans have for years been basically global warming deniers, denying that global warming exists, denying that we are having an effect on our environment, and worse, denying that we need to start taking some significant and serious action to do something about it. And I think this heat wave makes it really, really, really difficult for people to keep making that denial. You know, for example, in England, where they basically don't have air conditioning, and a lot of Europe, Northern Europe at least, they really don't have air conditioning because you don't really need it. The temperatures during the summertime are relatively moderate. The wintertime they do get some heat, but you do not have the ability, I think, to continue to deny we're having global warming. So we got a call. Is that you, Pete? You back on?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you guys.
Sorry about that, Pete. So listen, I just dropped into my diatribe about global warming. Did you hear that?
No, because we already know that. To me, from a religious side of it, global warming is coming, as my religious friends tell me, is quoted in the Bible. So it is what it is, and the reality speaking for me now, this is my independent opinion, that we're not going to pay attention to global warming because in America it does not take the place of trying to keep black and brown people in place.
Well,
so if it means that, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that's not a priority.
Well, yeah, I agree, but listen, you can't. One of the things that capitalism and politics does, and particularly a democracy, it will let no issue go by without seeking to be exploited. So we have global warming. The question is, how will politics? Democrats have taken their position, responsibility, action on our side. Republicans have taken their position. As we move into the fall elections, though, with this heat wave, how is that going to impact, you think, the fall elections?
Well, only the progressives and the environmentalists. But as black people concerned, climate issues and all like that has always been in the rear window because of all the years we've had environmentally challenged dumps in our neighborhood, everything like that. So we don't. That's not even climate change in the black community is not even ranked in the top 20 of issues. Maybe to get in.
So here's the way that you elevate it: is you connect it to people's economic viability. Not the cost necessarily of goods, but hey, your job is going to go away if the economy changes because this particular thing may not be able to survive. You work at the water park. Well, if there's no water, hey, is that job going to be there or not? But let me get to my last little nugget here, and I apologize, Pete. I'm a little backed up because I wasn't here last week. I got one last item here. That's finally somebody got convicted for not responding to a congressional subpoena. It wasn't Eric Holder. He didn't get convicted. It wasn't a bunch of other folks that didn't get. It was Republican activist Steve Bannon. What were your thoughts when you saw the jury, not the judge, the jury convict him for not responding to the subpoena?
I think it's going to be overturned eventually.
Now, why is that? He didn't respond.
Well, because they didn't go after Mark Meadows and one of the other guys. So that tells me, from a reality standpoint, either Meadows and the other guy is contributing behind the scenes, or they're waiting to pop them with some additional charges. But when you look at the judges in the appellate levels in the Supreme Court now, if you're a white guy like Steve Bannon, you're not going to do no time on nothing.
Well, we've seen some people get a little time, So
but he won't do it. Now you and I couldn't get away with that.
I don't know, Feed. I flip my bar card out a lot of times, and they let me get away with stuff. I'm just saying.
Well, I tell you
it's
what,
in the front of my wallet, man. I flip that bad boy out. Listen.
But you watch and see those kind of issues. Even though Bannon type people are detrimental to keeping this country together.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter because
symbolism.
the trend now is to keep black people and brown people or Hispanics who have a darker hue to keep us in line, along with the LGBTQ movement and the Jewish population. So that's it. We keep listen. We're in a real rumble and tumble thing here, and what I'm afraid of, and I'm gonna say it every week, that our young people under 30, that we really need them to pay attention to it. They're not interested in it because all they're interested in the false illusion of stacks. That's it. Stacks, twerking, and leave me alone. That's
Hey,
it.
Pete, you need to stay outside. You need
That's
to stay out.
it.
You need to stay out
I'm
those
just
places,
saying.
Pete. You need to stay out those places
Well,
where
no,
there's a lot of stacks
listen, you see
and other
that,
stuff
no,
going on. I
you,
don't know.
You see that
I'm a
on
family
the,
man.
you
I'm
see
at
that
home.
on the
I'm at
bus
home at
stop.
I'm at home by 7:30, and I don't know nothing about no stacks, and I definitely
Right.
don't see
Well,
no
go
twerking.
to the grocery store. Go to the grocery store and be at a traffic light and see it. So
All right,
I'm
Pete,
just
listen,
saying.
man, we got to get out of here, man. Pete, give me what's your comment? And now you're going to be out next week, correct, Pete?
Yeah, I'm gonna be. This is my 15th, 14th year working with the Young Lions organization with their back to school drive, and I represent myself, all the black men, and of course in church radio to let people know that the men involved with In Touch News and Radio, we take it serious about giving back to our community.
Outstanding. Well, thank you very much, Pete. I appreciate you very much. I also want to thank Henry Bell, who has blown up my text thread this morning. And that's Ma Bell's baby boy. I think that's the actual language that should be used in referencing Holland Pine's finest. Want to thank everybody out there for listening in. Pete, you be safe. Everybody, have a great week, and we will see you back. Hear me back again next week. Bye-bye.
What about the tickets?
Stand by.
See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Love and happiness. Yeah. Something that can make you do wrong, make you do right. Yeah. Love.